Good morning, students. In the previous video, you got an overview of computer system. How does it work? What are main functional units? What are main constituents of a computer system, etc. You also got to know that the hardware and software are the pillars of a computer system. A computer system cannot work unless its hardware and software works in tandem. In this video, we are going to talk about the various type of hardware a computer system can have, and in what way that hardware contribute to computer system. Hardware of a computer system broadly comprises of the following. First one, CPU, that stands for Central Processing Unit. Second one, memory. It's categorized into two types, primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory, you have two types, ROM, read-only memory, and RAM, it's a random access memory. And the secondary memory, it means all the storage devices that are used to store data permanently, such as hard disk, CD, DVD, pen drives, etc. And input devices, at last, output devices. So let's start with memory in a computer system. Because as we had already discussed about the CPU in the last video. So you know that CPU of a computer system is the real brain behind all the processing that take place. For processing, instructions and data are made available to CPU, and CPU processes the provided data with the given instruction. As for example, to get the product of two numbers 7 and 9, the CPU is given instruction and data somewhat like multiply 7 and 9 or a equal to 7 into 9, etc. Now using the instruction multiply, CPU processes the given data 7 and 9 and provides the final result, which is 63. Here comes the role of memory. CPU needs to have some place where it can hold instructions and data during processing. And once processing is over, it needs a place where it can store the result permanently. Thus, there are broadly two types of memory in a computer system. First one, primary memory, or it is also known as main memory or internal memory. The memory that holds data and instruction during processing is known as primary memory. It is a temporary memory. The second one, secondary memory. The memory that can store data for later use, that is permanently, is known as secondary memory. Now let's talk about units of memory. Computers store and process data information in the form of binary numbers. A binary number is either 0 or 1 and is known as bit, which is short form of binary digit. Internally, characters are represented through a group of bits depending upon encoding scheme being used. ASCII, that stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Encoding scheme represents a character as a group of 8 bits or byte. Unicode encoding system represents a character as a group of 16 bits or 2 bytes. So to say that memory needed to store a word, say ST1, as per ASCII scheme is 6 bytes. It means 6 characters, 1 byte each. And as per Unicode scheme is 12 bytes, 6 characters, 2 byte each. But byte is too small a unit. There are bigger units of memory also. Let's look at all units of memory. 1 bit, that stands for binary digit. 8 bits equal to 1 byte. 1024 bytes equal to 1 kilobyte. 1024 kilobytes equal to 1 megabyte. 1024 megabytes equal to 1 gigabyte. 1024 gigabytes equal to 1 terabyte. 1024 terabytes equal to 1 petabyte. 1024 petabyte equal to 1 exabyte. 1024 exabyte equal to 1 zettabyte. 1024 zettabyte equal to 1 yottabyte. 1024 yottabyte equal to 1 brontobyte. And 1024 brontobyte equal to 1 geobyte. This is the largest or highest unit of memory. Now let's discuss about main memory. So you know that all computers have main or internal memory to store programs and data. While computer is running, the main memory also has two subtypes. First one, read-only memory. In this memory, information once stored remains fixed. That is, it cannot be changed. So ROM can only be read and used. It cannot be changed or written onto. Generally, ROMs contain a set of startup instructions, that is, what to do when a computer is turned on. The contents of ROM remains stored even if power is turned off. The second one is random access memory. This internal memory that can be read from as well as written to is called RAM. That is random access memory. When people talk about computer's memory in connection with computer, they usually mean the RAM. The random access memory is volatile. Its contents are lost when power is turned off. Because of RAM's some limitations, auxiliary memory is needed. The limitations of RAM is it has limited storage capacity. It's volatile in nature. That is, its content get removed when power is turned off. Now let's look about some RAM, ROM, and CPU. It's RAM, ROM, and it's CPU. Now let's discuss about the major difference between RAM and ROM. RAM stands for random access memory. ROM stands for read-only memory. RAM is a form of data storage that can be accessed randomly at any time in any order by CPU. ROM is also a form of memory storage that generally store hardwired instructions for the computer to start initially. RAM contents can be changed or altered as and when required, but ROM cannot be easily altered or reprogrammed. It means that the instruction of RAM is written at the time of manufacturing of ROM. So some special machines are required to alter or reprogram RAM. RAM allows the computer to read data quickly to run applications. ROM stores the programs required to initially boot the computer or reboot the computer. RAM allows reading and writing both. ROM allows only reading. RAM is volatile. That is, its content are lost when the device is powered off. ROM is non-volatile. That is, its content are remain even when the device is powered off. RAM is larger than ROM, can be of some gigabytes. ROM is smaller but large enough to hold basic instructions, is up to some megabytes. RAM chip can read data faster than ROM. ROM is slower as compared to RAM. So there are some differences between the RAM and ROM. Now let's look about the computer performance. You will often hear someone say, "How do I improve my computer's performance?" There is not just one straightforward answer to this question, since there are a number of factors that affect how well or how fast a computer works. The main three factors that affect how fast a computer works are: first one is CPU speed. The CPU contains a tiny quartz clock. Each time this clock tick, one instruction can be dealt with by the CPU. So the more times this clock tick per second, the more instruction the CPU can carry out and the faster things get done. The speed of CPU measured in either megahertz or more commonly now in gigahertz. A 1 megahertz CPU can carry out 1 million instructions per second. A 1 gigahertz CPU can carry out 1 billion instructions per second. A typical CPU installed in a computer today would run at around 3 gigahertz, which means that it can carry out 3 billion instructions per second. So one way to improve computer's performance might be to upgrade your CPU to a faster one, especially if you have a fairly slow and old machine. The next things is memory size. CPU uses a temporary memory called RAM, which is stored in document and files while you working on them. So if you have a Word document open and an email, a website, and a couple of images, they are all sitting in RAM. You can be sure of this because remember, when you switch your computer off, they will disappear. RAM is volatile, that is non-permanent memory. This can cause a problem over time because the RAMs in your computer will eventually fill up and your computer will appear to slow down. If you want to improve your computer performance and you only have a small amount of RAM, such as 512 MB or even 1 GB, you could add extra RAM chip. The next one is number of applications. The more application files document you have open, the faster your RAM will fill up. Even if you increase the amount of RAM memory you have in your computer, it will eventually fill up during the day. So another way to improving the performance of your computer is to limit the amount of application that you have running at any one time and the amount of files document that you have open. So these are some factors which affect the computer performance. Now let's discuss about a storage devices. It means secondary storage memory devices. Since primary memory has limited storage capacity and is not permanent, secondary storage devices are used to store large amount of data permanently. Various type of secondary storage devices are: the first one, floppy disk. A floppy disk is a flexible plastic disk which is coated with magnetic material and covered by a protective jacket. It is used primarily to store data from computer. The floppy disk is also called diskette. It was one of the oldest type of portable storage devices that could store up to 1.44 MB of data, but now not used in computers of today. Till early 1990s, floppy disk was the most popular choice of distributing software and was widely used for backup. With the arrival of CD-ROMs, floppy disks started losing market. Today, they are no longer the standard equipment on computers. The next one is hard disk. A hard disk drive consists of magnetic disks called platters that record and store information. Each platter has a magnetic head, also called read and write head, which moves across the surface of the platter. The hard disk memory stores information on one or more circular platters which are continually spinning. These rotating disks are coated with magnetic material and stacked with a space between them. Information is recorded on the surface of rotating disks by magnetic heads as a teeny magnetic spores. Because the data is stored magnetically, information recorded on the hard disk remains intact even after the computer is switched off. Today, hard disk for the personal computer can store data up to above 1 terabyte. So next one is compact disc. The compact discs or CDs are optical media. The CDs are relatively cheap and have a storage capacity of up to 700 MB. It is a popular data storage device these days. The data that can be recorded on a CD may include text, picture, multimedia, games, audio, video, encyclopedias, etc. It is widely used for distributing computer software. There are two types of CD. First one, the CD-R. CD-R discs that can be written once but can be read again and again. And the second one is CD-RW. It's a rewritable disc. This type of CD allows tracing previously recorded data and writing new data on the same disk. And the next one is DVDs. DVD is an optical storage device that looks the same as the compact disc but is able to hold about 15 times as much information and transfer it to the computers about 20 times as fast as a CD-ROM. A DVD, also called a super density disc, can hold up to 17 GB of data, 4 hours of movies on a side. DVD are available in single or double-sided version. A double-sided DVD can store data on both the sides. DVD are of the same dimension as CD-ROM but can store much more data, while a CD-ROM can store about 700 megabytes of data. A typically single-sided DVD can store about 4.7 GB of data. The next one is pen drives. It is also known as thumb drives. It comes under the flash memories. The pen drive is portable USB flash memory device that can be used to quickly transfer audio, video and data files from the hard drive of one computer to another. It is simply plugged into USB port of a computer and start working. A pen drive gets its name from its resemblance in shape and size with a pen or a pencil and the case with which it fits into one's pocket. USB pen or flash drives are often used for the same purpose as the floppy disk. They are smaller, faster, have thousands of times more capacity and are more durable and reliable due to their lack of moving parts. Storage capacity of pen drives can range from 4 GB to 128 GB. Flash is solid state memory, that is, it has no moving parts unlike magnetic storage devices, nor does it make use of lasers unlike optical drives. Instead, it works in a similar way to RAM. The key difference is that data is retained in flash memory even when the power is switched off. The next one is Blu-ray disc. Blu-ray is a successor to DVD. The format's name comes from the fact that a blue laser, hence the name Blu-ray, reads from and writes to the disc rather than the red laser of DVD players. The blue laser has a shorter wavelength, that's it has 405 nm, than the red laser, that's 650 nm used in DVDs. The shorter wavelength of Blu-ray makes it possible for data to be packed more tightly and stored in less space. So it is possible to fit more data on the disc even though it is the same size as a CD or DVD. A blue laser can write more data compared to red laser of DVD. As a consequence, a Blu-ray disc can store much more data in the same 20 centimeter space. These days, Blu-ray discs of capacity 25 and 50 GB are commonly available. The next one is memory stick. A memory stick is a type of removable memory card that you connect to a computer or other piece of electronic equipment to copy and store information. Typically, memory sticks are used as a storage media for a portable device in a form that can easily be removed for access by a personal computer. As for example, in digital camera, smartphone, camcorder, music player, or portable PlayStation, etc. The memory stick of today can store data in gigabytes. Their capacity varies from 4 GB to 128 GB. And next one, cloud storage. It's not a device, it's a mechanism. Cloud storage is the newest way of storing files and data. The cloud storage is a mechanism, not a physical storage device. Cloud storage backs up your files to secure server across the internet. It has become practical as internet speed have increased and it's convenient as it can often be fully automated. Here is given some example of the different platforms that provides you the cloud storage. They like Google Drive from the Google, OneDrive from Microsoft, iCloud from the Apple, and some others. So that's all for today. Thank you.